Hey everyone, it's Johnny, your independent Scentsy consultant. Welcome back to my channel. And this week we will have not one fragrance feedback, but actually two. Because I just was on a warming frenzy for whatever reason. I had a bunch of non-Scentsy stuff that I wanted to warm through, and I was just in a mood to change them out nonstop. And then I had a whole bunch of Scentsy stuff that I wanted to go through. So this video today will be about all of the non-Scentsy wax that I went through in the past week. And there's a lot. You're like, holy, how much wax are you warming all the time? And I was, like I said, I was just in a mood. I wanted to change my wax multiple times a day. It was just, I don't know what it was. But that being said, let's dive in. These are in no particular order, but they will be mostly Walmart branded wax or retail wax, as well as a couple from Crinkle. So here we go. Started out with Mainstays Peach and Mango. This is a really nice scent. It is what you'd expect it to be. It's a peach mango blend. There's not much else to it. It was really nice. It wasn't as loud or strong as a scent that I would prefer to, well, not say, I should say I prefer, but what I would expect from a peach mango sort of scent. Those tend to be overpowering or a little bit stronger. And this is kind of more mellow. Another thing that was surprising was that I'm not a big peach scent person. For some reason, that's just a scent that my nose and I have decided are not one of our favorites. But in this combination, it smelled delicious. So I do recommend it, but it doesn't last the longest in my experience. But it did last for a good, like, more than half of the day. But definitely needed a refresher at some point or a few extra cubes. Another Mainstays one I got through is vanilla. For some reason, I thought this was vanilla cupcake for the longest time, probably because there's a vanilla cupcake in the picture, but it's just vanilla. It's a sweet vanilla frosting. So if you like Scentsy's Vanilla Bean Buttercream, this is less buttery and more on like the sweet vanilla and like powdery sugary vibe. There's no powdered notes, but it's like vanilla icing. So it's not really a like mellow perfumey vanilla. It's definitely a bakery icing sort of vanilla. But it was really good. It lasted all day. It wasn't particularly overwhelming in terms of strength, but it was present in the room. So it wasn't nauseatingly cloy. I didn't feel by the end of the day that I was just sickened with a sweet sense. So that was good. What was unfortunately a not so great choice was Harvest Pie by Mainstays. And I don't know what they were trying to go with for this. I'm assuming some sort of like berried pie note. And this smells like cherry trimenic or no, yeah, it's definitely like trimenic or like Dimetapp or like one of those like cough syrupy sort of scents. It's not quite the nastiness of like a Robitussin because it's like that sweetness that deceives you. It's like that weird artificial candy sweet sort of berry note. And oh man, I had this in the warmer for less than maybe 30 minutes and I had some very unpleasant physical sort of not wanting to deal with the scent. So it lasted for all of 30 minutes. It was very strong and it was very much like cough syrup. So if you like your house smelling like cherry cough syrup, this is a scent for you. I didn't get like a note of crust or golden anything. It was just, didn't work for me. If it's one of your favorites, more power to you. It's not something I can warm, apparently. All right, taking a beeline really quick, I did warm a bar of vanilla bourbon this is from Target, their Threshold Wax collection. This is bomb diggity. You get the vanilla, you get like the brown sugar caramelized bourbon-y note, but it's not overwhelming. It lasts all day. This is a great scent. It's more of like if you like sort of more of like a masculine, more cologne-y based vanilla scent, this one is for you because it gives you that really richness of the vanilla, but it also has that like hint of booze without being overwhelming, and then like that caramelized brown sugary thing. And I'm not a big caramel sort of fan, but the brown sugar caramel combination notes that they have in here, whatever they did, it works for me. So this is definitely a win. I would get it again. There was, however, Cassava Melon from Target Thresholds. That was not so exciting. It's a lot of melon, and it's that yellowy melon mixed with honeydew, mixed with watermelon. Yellow cantaloupe. That's orange, not yellow, Johnny. But it's pungent. It's up there with like, it's not quite like melon and apple granita land of like, whoa, knock your socks off. So it was more of like a medium strong versus like strong, overwhelming scent. But it just wasn't for me. I don't know. Melon scents are very hit or miss for me. It's either like I really like it or it's just not doing a whole lot. So I can't personally recommend that one, but it did perform quite well for what it was. All right, next we have Better Homes and Gardens. We have White Pumpkin Sage. This is from their collection this fall, and I wanted to like this. At first I was like, oh, this is kind of like a fresh sort of scent, but I have just decided that I also do not particularly like sage-based scents, especially when it's a very main note in the fragrance. If it's like a hint of sage or it's like blended in the background, it doesn't bother me. But when it's like sage, there's something about it is just, it doesn't agree with my nose. You get this like kind of sweet white pumpkin, and you also get a lot of sage. And yeah, I couldn't keep this in all day in the warmers. I had it in for a few hours, and at first I was like, oh, it's kind of fresh and pumpkin-y and sweet, and then it just was like sage after a certain point, and I couldn't do it. So if you like sage, this one is the thing. If you like white pumpkins or like a slightly sweeter pumpkin than your traditional orange pumpkin scent, you may find that one very interesting. It's definitely a different pumpkin scent, so I am thankful for that. Then I got through a bar of Wild Lavender Linden. This is like, this reminds me of like a clean, fluffy towel, like a fluffy cotton towel, and a little bit of lavender, and a hint of like linen note. So this is less of like ambiessence. Linen and lavender is really more like a linen and lavender mix, and is a really good mix. This one is very nice. I love it. It smells great, but it's like fresh laundry lavender. So if you liked lavender cotton from Scentsy, you would probably really enjoy this one. It's strong. It lasts forever in a day. But I feel like it's a little bit more cottony than it is linen in terms of the scent notes. But I really like it. I have a couple more of this. I'm glad I have a couple more of this because unfortunately Scentsy doesn't have lavender cotton in wax bars at the moment. So this is a good substitute. But if you're looking for more of like a linen lavender, I would maybe try Ambiessence one. Next, we have Pomegranate Spiced Cider. This is from Better Homes and Gardens. This is delicious. This is a berry. This is a very much red, slightly tart pomegranate cider. And it's like just dead on with the description. Like, you get some cider spices. It's not overwhelming. You really get the red berry note from this and a bit of tartness. And it's strong and it lasts all day. Oh man, this is a great scent. I was a little on the wall because cider scents I find sometimes can be a little too spice heavy for me. But this one was very much, you got the red berry note. So good job, Better Homes and Gardens. Next, we have Better Homes and Gardens Farmhouse Pumpkin Patch. This is another one where I wanted to like it, but there's just too much of an artificial sort of plastic note, overnote to it. Like there is definitely orange pumpkin, but then whatever they blended in here to make the pumpkin patch, it just kind of started to smell like Play-Doh to me. It was like pumpkin Play-Doh, and that was really weird and an odd sort of scent to me. So I personally was not a fan of this, but again, I'm sure there are some people who love it, and if you do, that's fantastic. Next, we have Sensationals Salted Caramel Buttercream, and this is essentially like the name suggests. You get salted caramel, and you get like a buttercream sort of buttery note to it, as opposed to just like salted caramel and frosting or icing or sugar, or salted caramel and like a baking sort of note. This is definitely like a buttercream frosting, what I would expect. It almost has a slight toffee sort of nuance to it when it's warming. And again, I'm not a huge caramel person. I enjoyed this. I had it going over in the evening and overnight, and then I woke up to this nice mellow scent. It was not ever a like powerhouse, like knock your socks off sort of caramel scent, which I was very appreciative of. And I would probably warm this again at some point. It wasn't cloyingly sweet. But was it my favorite? Probably not. So I would warm it again if I had more, but I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way personally to go get more. Then we have Butterscotch Maple Cream from Better Homes and Gardens. This also just, it smells like butterscotch, and it smells like a creamy vanilla, and then you get a hint of maple in there. And it's enough maple to know that there is a maple note in here, but it's not so overwhelming that it just becomes like a maple syrup. But there is a good vanilla base to this, so if you're worried that it's going to be too butterscotch, toffee, caramel, maple, you do get a lot of vanilla. And it's like vanilla with butterscotch and vanilla with the kind of hint of maple. So that would be one I'd maybe buy a couple more bars of to have, but I wouldn't necessarily hoard a bunch of them. But it was pleasantly surprising. Next, we have Sensationals Lemon Blueberry Donuts. This one was interesting. So it's a weird scent to me. I don't dislike it, but it's such a weird transformative scent. So on cold, and even in the clamshell, it kind of reminds me of Scentsy's April scent of the month, Be Fabulous, but instead of being more like citrusy, it's a little bit more like sweet as opposed to tangy. But then when you warm it at first, you get like the lemon blueberry sort of citrusy berry note, which is nice, and you don't get any like sweetness. And then later on, like it was very soft. I added the rest of the cubes in the bar to like fill out the room. And then you started really smelling like this kind of like iced glazed donut-y sort of scent. I wouldn't necessarily have been able to say that it was particularly like a donut, like I didn't smell dough. But you got like more of the sweet, sugary note to it that you would expect with like a sweet sort of icing sort of scent, or like a frosting scent. So donuts, I don't know about that, but maybe like lemon blueberry and whatever the glaze icing is that they put on the donuts, that was probably more of what I got from this. Would I get it again? Maybe. It's not what I expected, but not necessarily in a bad way. It's definitely a softer scent. And I will say it does tend to get a little bit sweet at the end. So it's almost like those like kind of like artificial blueberry like muffins mixes that you get, or like freeze-dried blueberries rather than like a fresh juicy blueberry. But it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it for what it was. All right, then we have Sensationals Autumn Valley. This is Golden Amber and Balsam. So I don't know how I feel about this scent. I like balsam scents in general, and I like amber-based scents, but I'm not sure how I feel about amber and balsam in the same scent. Like it's a combination that in theory is okay, like smelling it on cold. It's not like, it smells kind of like a forest, like a wooded forest. But I feel like that the amber they chose, the golden amber, is probably a sweeter amber rather than like a dark, more like musky amber. And if that even makes sense. And I feel like the sweetness of the golden amber is like throwing it off a little bit for me. Like if it was a deeper, more woody based note as opposed to sweet, I think I would have liked it more. But it just does something a little bit odd on like both cold after you smell it a couple times and also on warm. It does that too. But it lasts all day. Medium to medium strong scent. I wouldn't necessarily say that this is like what'll knock you out of your house, but you definitely will smell it. And like the off note, I ended up just opening my windows so that it had like a little bit more of a breeze, and it kind of muted some of the odd notes that I was smelling in my nose. But I liked it. Wouldn't probably buy that one again, at least not that combo. I'll just keep my ambers and balsams separate. And then we have caramel apples. This is like a random, whatever brand this is. I have no idea. Corona Candles brand. This is also like a random clamshell from Walmart. And this smells a lot like Caramel Apple Craze from Scentsy. It's almost a dupe, except that this one you get more apple, like fresh apple, rather than caramel. Whereas with Scentsy's, it's more like you get caramel with fresh apple, if that makes sense. And so for that reason, I actually prefer this one to our Scentsy one, only because I'm more about the apple than I am about the caramel. But they're both very similar. Like if you put them next to one another to sniff, they're pretty close. And it's like a fairly authentic apple sort of smell, just like with Scentsy's. You just get more apple in this and more caramel in ours. All right, last two. We have pumpkin frosting from Kringle. I don't even know why I'm doing this, if it actually focuses or not. It's a frosting scent with a hint of pumpkin. I didn't really get a whole lot of pumpkin, to be fair, and I'm not a huge pumpkin person in general, so I wasn't mad about that. It just smelled like a sweet, not a buttercream frosting. It's just a sweet, like regular frosting, traditional frosting, icing. A little vanilla hints to it, a little bit of spice, maybe a hint of nutmeg or something, and then like that hint of pumpkin. It was really nice. It was a lighter scent, but I really liked that one. So good job, Kringle. I approve. And this last one from Kringle, oh man, I love this. This is called Midnight. It's like a fancy men's cologne. It's very deep. It's very much a cologne note. There's maybe a hint of like a soapy vibe, but it's a men's cologne. It's like a nice fresh men's cologne. Oh, it's so good. I would wear this. If this was a cologne, I would actually wear this. Ooh, it's so good. And this lasted all day. This, no problem, lasted all day. Just this little puck cube thing of whatever worked just fine. So that is all we have for our non-Scentsy stuff. There will be another video that I'll post in the next day or two with all the Scentsy things that I warmed through this week. I went crazy with a bunch of testers and decided to try a bunch. So if you were looking for ideas or feedback on some of the scents from the fall winter catalog, that'll be a video you want to check out, because I go through a bunch of testers from our current catalog. That being said, I hope this video was helpful. I hope you found these reviews kind of interesting. Let me know if you've tried any of these and what your thoughts are. And otherwise, I will see you in our next video, and I hope you are having a safe and wonderful week. Take care. Bye.